Hi everybody, Ashe Blitzen here, and I have kind of an interesting video to show you guys today. Hopefully it works out well because I have kind of a janky setup here, but this way you can see my hands. But I know you were all interested once I posted that picture of all my nippers in my vast collection that I've amassed over the years. And a lot of you have been asking, what's the difference between like the pair of nippers I can get at the craft store for $7 and the rather more expensive Godhand nippers. So I'm just gonna do a little side-by-side comparison, just to give you guys an idea of the pros and cons and the differences of each nipper. So to get started, I'm going to show you guys the first pair of nippers that I've ever used. These are the Tamiya Modeller's Sidecutters. Very simple, very basic. You have your little spring mechanism here, single blade, a nice sharp edge there. I'm going to see if I can get it a little closer so you can see, just a typical side cutter. I'm not totally sure about price range. I should have researched that before I filmed this video. I didn't, herp derp. But I can tell you that this probably ran me between $10 and $15. The benefit you have here is that this is designed specifically for plastic models. The ones that you'll find at Michael's are not necessarily just for plastic. They could be meant for jewelry making, cutting wire, things like that. So they might not honestly be made to cut through plastic. They might be more heavy duty than what we're looking for, and that leads to little white marks in the plastic when you snip your piece out, and no one likes that. So just to do a quick demo of how this works, for those of you who don't know how nippers work, let me get nice and close up here so you can see. Just kind of, there it is. You can see, comes right out. And there, you have your little tiny piece. I can get up close. Pretty clean. Just a little minimal sanding there. So there's that. Now let's go ahead and flip this piece out. As I've said before, I harvested all my Gundam Age kits for uses like this. So you can see here, you can see the nub. Efficient, gets the job done, minimal effort, and that's because of the single spring here. Gets the job done. Pretty cheap, good option for people who are just starting out and, they just kind of want to get their stuff off their runners and assembled. Minimal effort. So, there's that. I've had these for about, maybe like 2.5 years. My original pair were pink and were a limited edition. They didn't have the same material as this does. It was more of like a matte, no slip grip kind of thing. I forget where I picked those up from. It definitely wasn't Gundam Planet. It was somewhere in the city, because I know this was before I discovered Gundam Planet. But yeah, so these are a good option if you're just starting out and you just want something simple and on the cheaper side. So, Tamiya Modeller's Sidecutter. So there's a little weird glitch with my phone there, but we're back on track. The last one we went over was the Tamiya Modeller's Sidecutter, simple starter nippers. The next ones that I got, and I wanted to get something a little more able to reach into the fine grooves of the runners. So these are the sharp-pointed Tamiya nippers. These are the extra sharps, so you can tell the difference between these ones. See, they're more thick almost and long, but kind of wide. But then you have the sharp-pointed ones, and they're a little more narrow and a lot sharper looking, and with a longer kind of range there, and rather thin. See the difference there? And this can really get into those hard to reach, like angular spots, especially with undergating. Undergating helps, so you don't really need to worry too much about leaving marks. But on older kits, I'd say where you have a lot of surface nubs and you can't really get around it sometimes. These come in very, very handy because they're very sharp and very narrow. So let's see. What should we nip next? Yeah, let's do this guy. This other one here. So you see, I don't do this terribly often. I'm just doing it to prove the point here. Normally, when I snip things out of the runners, I don't do flush against the part there. I don't know how well you can see that. Do my best to show you. I normally angle it a little upward so that there's extra space, and I trim down with my hobby knife, my curved blade, and that helps me get a nice clean finish. And a lot of people ask me, like, how do you get the clean finish? It's lots of patience and kind of whittling it down. But for people who want a nice clean cut, you just kind of lay it up, line it up against it, and you just snip. And you can barely tell there was a nub there. Very clean, very precise, sharp, minimal effort. These are very, very nice. So there is still a little bit of a scuff. I mean, that's unavoidable, really. There it is. See, you can barely tell here, unless you're really actively looking for it. Back there, you can kind of see it. So, yeah, see it? Scratch it. Don't scratch it. Right. So, as you can see, kind of a step up, more for people who are advanced and kind of getting to know the plastic more and kind of want to get in those hard to reach places. A very, very good pair of nippers. And as you can see, in comparison, this shiny, slick handle can sometimes, if you push too hard, you hear that it slips. Not fun sometimes. This one, however, has a nice like matte coating. I want to say it's like neoprene, like the kind of gloves you get for if you're shoveling snow, moisture resistant. So when your hands get all sweaty from buildings, they don't go flying out of your hands, and sharp objects, don't let them go flying out of your hands. Very dangerous. So these are gonna run you a little bit more. I want to say that these were between $25 and $30. I could be wrong. It could be more. Not entirely sure. I will, however, post links to where you can purchase all of these in the description for my video, and wherever I post this video, it'll be in wherever I can put text so you can see it. And go check it out for yourself. So let's move on to the next. I'll push these off to the side. These, the legend, the Godhand. I was lucky enough to get these for a bargain. My friend Mike hooked me up. I was able to get these for $35. Godhand is very universally well known within the plomo community as the ultimate tool. Because, and from what I understand, I'm not an expert on this. I'm just trying to give you guys my opinion. Because of the nice, sleek, long handles, gives you a good grip. The spring here kind of gives you nice tension, so it's minimal effort but lots of tension, so you get a nice good clean cut. The blade mine's a little dirty. I'm bad. I cut stickers with my nippers. You really shouldn't, but sometimes I'll cut masking tape and things like that. I'm getting off topic. Where was I? Yes, you can see in a very similar style to the sharp-pointed Tamiya, you can see that they're very, very similar in that way, that they're very sharp, very narrow at the end, so it makes it good for getting into... Unfortunately, they're not as long as the Tamiya sharp-pointed. They're a little more squat, but sometimes that can work in your advantage, honestly, to kind of get into the groove by where you're trimming out your part, but also maintaining that sharp, narrow edge there. See, you can kind of see it there. And they are very light. They're not a heavy nipper in any sense of the word. And we'll compare it to the first one. Look how thin that is in comparison. It's very thin, and you can see it's much more squat and not as long. It really just kind of depends on your preference. See how thick this one is compared. You know, differences. But yeah, the Godhands, and these in particular are the Kotobukiya release. Let me see if I can get that on camera so you can see. Yep, see. Kotobukiya working alongside Godhand. You know, again, these are made specifically for Plamo, for plastic. So these are really great, honestly, I won't lie. When I got these, I was so shocked at how clean of a cut you can get with these, and they just go through anything. Like if for whatever reason you want to cut through the thicker pieces here, it does it. The blade, I've been using this for about 2 months now. Honestly, the blade hasn't dulled really at all, which is nice. And you can kind of see on my beginners nippers that they've really dulled over the years. So, stuff to consider, and these are an investment though. They go for up to $70, which is insane to me. I don't know that I would ever spend that much normally. I was able to get these for a discount because they were a collaboration, and my friend was able to import them for cheap. So, if you have connections, it's one thing, but I will get to a solution to that as my next pair. But I will get into that. I will just show you guys how these babies work. So we'll just slide right up. You barely heard it clip, right? It went through like butter. It's kind of crazy. Just like a puff of air. So, you can see the nub. You're always low. I hate when people think that this is the be-all, end-all, and you won't have to sand, and you can just leave it. Always sand. Always sand. It just it just looks better when you sand. Occasionally you can get away with just, and what I do is sometimes I'll pick. You shouldn't. Don't listen to me, but sometimes I'll do it. But nice and smooth. A nice, clean, crisp cut. Something else to consider. Again, I would never, in my right mind, spend $70 on a pair of nippers, but I will say that these were worth the purchase at the price I got them for. $40 tops I would pay for these. They're very, very nice. Very much worth it. And again, non-slip grip. Very nice. I like the color. And it's funny because at the time, you can go on my Instagram and see the original post. I don't remember what day it was from, but my nail polish actually matched the nippers the day I got these. So it was kind of very serendipitous and a neat little coincidence that happened. So, Kotobukiya Godhands. Very cool. Very good. Very expensive. So these are brand spanking new. My friends over at Gundam Planet were nice enough to give me a pair of these, and they are freaking amazing. And the cool thing about these is, this is the first thing I noticed because I'm weird and I like little quirks like this. It comes with a little hood here to keep your nippers kind of keep the edge from getting dented or whatever for wherever you store them, and to keep them nice and uniform like that. Because if you look, my Godhands are like, we're just gonna friggin' fly out like this. Whatever, deal with it. This, however, can fit inside there, nice and uniform. Whatever, little quirks. But you can see the GP logo there. Super cool. They got these made just for their store, which is freaking amazing. And it's funny because I was actually speaking with one of my friends over there, and these are from the same company that makes the Godhand nippers, from what I understand. And they're, if not made by the same company, they're manufactured the same way. And they're a very similar type of blade, if not the same blade. So you got that nice, super sharp edge there. Very, very cool looking. Very thin, and it'll get in those grooves there for you. It's super sharp. I've only snipped out one piece with these so far. But again, you've got your spring for some tension in there. Really, really nice. And one cool thing I noticed that was a quirk here, if you can see on the side of my Godhands, there's this weird little jutting piece here. I think it's a screw or some kind of piece. It always kind of annoyed me. I don't really know why or what purpose it serves. but they're always kind of got on my nerves. And these don't have that, which is quite nice, honestly. And these are almost the same as the Tamiya sharp pointed in terms of the grippers, which I prefer because I like a slightly thicker grip. And I like the nice matte coating on there so it stays in your hand. It's, very firm. So that's also very nice. So I really, really dig these. And Gundam Planet has these on their website. They just went live yesterday with them. Was it yesterday or the day before? I want to say it was yesterday. Could have been the day before. No, it was yesterday. Don't quote me. I'll post a link. But they're really great. They're $35, which to some people that might be kind of off-putting. But when you take into consideration that these are manufactured to be comparable to the Godhands, which are worth like between $50-$70 depending on where you find them, it's a very, very, very good value for the money, and they're really, really great. It's a nice in between the Tamiya, the sharp pointeds, and the Godhands proper. And I really prefer this kind of grip. I don't like when they're too long and they feel lanky. I like it when they're more squat. So let's go ahead and give these a shot. I have 1 foot piece left from this stupid Age 3, so I'm sorry if there's anybody out there that likes Age. That show is awful. I really wanted so much more from that show. So let's just get myself a poo. Just like the Godhands, you barely hear it clip through. It goes through just like butter. Nice clean cut. I'm bending. There you go. So, you will still see the nub, but for the most part, it's pretty much gone. See a little bit in the back. But very clean, smooth, very good. So, honestly, overall, I can tell you guys, it really just depends on your preference. If you prefer, something simple, simple beginner, you're gonna end up finishing work on it anyway, so you just kind of want something to get the job done that's cheap. You can go with the just plain old Tamiya modeler Sidecutters. If you want something slightly more high-end, but you're not quite Godhand, you're not quite into the idea of Godhand-esque. My phone hates me. I'm sorry. It cut off there. So as I was saying, if you're not quite into the idea of getting Godhands and paying that much money for a very high-end nipper, I think that the Gundam Planet nippers are a very, very good, solid, reasonable option for people if you want something that's a little more high-end and, does a little bit more. It's also got the super cool Gundam Planet logo on there, so if you wanted to kind of represent your loyalty, there's that as kind of an added bonus. So, it's nothing is set in stone, folks. I'm just offering you my opinion here. Everybody's different. Everybody's got a different pair of grippy hands, And I think that all of these have very special meaning to me, and I've had them all for, quite a while. These are my newbies. So I promise I'll keep you guys updated as I go, use them day-to-day basis, and how well the blades do as time goes on, as far as wearing down. So that's really all for now. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, despite all my little flubs here and there. And I hope this was informative. If you guys ever have questions, in particular, and maybe you want me to demonstrate more, take more photos, whatever, just feel free to leave me a message on the page. Ashe Blitzen Builds on Facebook, or, I'm also on Instagram, Twitter now, that I'm still getting used to, even though I'm still kind of derpy at it. But reach out to me. I'm happy to help with anything. And share knowledge, and if you guys have opinions, feel free to share with me, because I'm always up for learning new stuff too. And we're all friends in this community, and I'm not the kind of person who incites drama, so, you know, feel free to talk to me. All right, so I think that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed my video and that you learned a little something. All right, have a great evening, day, wherever you are, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.